Why is the speed limit of the universe the speed of light?
Honestly, the term speed of light is a bit misleading. A better name might be something like the universe's maximum speed. Light just happens to travel at that speed because photons have no mass, so it is not really about light itself. It is more like a built-in rule of the universe.
Okay, but why does there have to be a speed limit at all? Why not infinite speed?
Here is the key idea. The universe runs on information, and the speed limit is basically the fastest that information can travel. If there were no limit, information could appear everywhere instantly. That would completely break causality. Cause and effect would stop making sense. Imagine this. You are already dead the moment you are born. A ball you throw is still in your hand. Every choice in your life happens all at once. In a world like that, where everything happens simultaneously, the idea of existing wouldn't even mean anything anymore.
Still, 300,000 kilometers per second feels kind of slow. Couldn't it be, say, 100,000 times faster?
It might sound like just a number, but changing it would change everything. That is because the speed of light affects something called the fine structure constant, which controls how strong electromagnetism is. And electromagnetism is what holds atoms together. So if the speed of light were different, if it were faster, electromagnetic forces get weaker. Atoms become less stable. Chemistry becomes simpler and less interesting. Complex molecules might not even form. If it were slow, electromagnetic forces get stronger. Atoms become more tightly bound. Stars might burn much faster. The universe might not last very long. So, it is not just the speed of light. If you tweak almost any physical constant even a little, the universe could become completely unrecognizable, or not exist at all.
That's kind of crazy. Why do all these constants seem so perfectly tuned?
Well, maybe they are not actually perfect. Maybe it just looks that way, because if they weren't like this, we wouldn't be here to notice. This idea is called
The anthropic principle, right? Does that mean there could be tons of other universes with different rules, but we just happen to be in one that allows us to exist?
Yeah, that's the idea, at least in theory. But here's the catch. Science can only deal with things we can test. And right now, the multiverse isn't something we can actually test or observe.
Wait, so the multiverse isn't just science fiction? There are real theories behind it?
Yeah, one of the big ones is string theory. The basic idea is that the smallest building blocks of reality aren't point-like particles, but tiny vibrating strings. Different vibrations equal different particles. Originally, string theory was meant to be a theory of everything, something that could unify all the laws of physics.
That sounds pretty solid. So how does that lead to the multiverse?
Here's where it gets interesting. In string theory, there are tons of possible ways those strings can vibrate. And since everything is made of these strings, that means different vibration patterns can lead to different particles, different force strength, and different physical constants. In other words, completely different universes with different rules. And the number of these possible setups is ridiculously huge. This idea is called the string theory landscape, which, in simpler terms, is basically the multiverse.
That's actually kind of beautiful, philosophically. So has string theory been successful? Does it make predictions?
That's where things get controversial. Most of string theory exists as math. If the universe can randomly pick different configurations at birth, then different regions could follow different laws of physics. The problem is, this idea can explain almost anything, which sounds good, but in science, that's actually a problem. If a theory can't be tested or proven wrong, it starts to feel less like physics and more like philosophy with math.
Maybe in the future, with better technology, we'll find evidence for strings?
If that happens, it would be huge. But for now, we have to stick to what we can actually test. String theory was supposed to unify physics, but instead it opened the door to countless possible universes. And even if we somehow prove those universes exist, we probably couldn't do anything with that knowledge. Because we are made of this universe, we can't step outside of it. So, how do you observe a world that doesn't even follow your universe's rule, when the very act of observing depends on those rules?
Huh.